I'm Bambi Francisco with this segment of Lessons for Entrepreneurs, and I'm speaking with Bijan Marashi. He's the co-founder and CEO of Xoopit. Bijan, thanks for joining me.
Thanks for having me.
Well, you have had a lot of experience in startups,
Yep.
being the first product manager at Inktomi. Now you're the co-founder of the company, Xoopit, and you raised $5 million. So you've got a lot of experience under your belt as an entrepreneur. So please give us 3 pieces of advice that you would offer the Vader community.
Okay, so probably the most important lesson that I learned is there's no need to be really in stealth mode. And so when you're first generating your idea, like around the kitchen table with your friends or whoever you're collaborating, get out there and network and share your ideas. I was given a piece of advice from the lead R&D VP from Inktomi, Brian Toddy, and he told me to run rabid through the Silicon Valley, show everyone your ideas, and find a business partner. And so I flew to Microsoft, I showed the Windows Vista GM all the ideas that we were working on, and he introduced me to Howdy Party people I like, and that's how I met my partner Jonathan Katzman. And so it's really, really important to get your ideas out there, because it's highly likely that the idea you start with isn't going to be the idea you end up with. And so just don't worry about it. People are focused on their own stuff, and so you just need to get out there. The second piece of advice I'd give to entrepreneurs is when you're developing your product, work really, really hard to find the thinnest edge of the wedge. Rich Tong from Ignition and Microsoft gave us that advice when we were first starting off, which is, you have your great vision of how you want to change the world and all the things that you want to do, but you're not going to get there in huge bites. You're going to get there in really, really, really small steps. So figuring out what's the smallest version of your vision,
I like
and
that.
getting to market with that as quickly as possible is essential. And I'll tell you, if you're an entrepreneur, you probably have a lot of ideas. So what you'll likely need to do is surround yourself with some advisors who are your Quincy Jones, like your copy editor, who can say, nope, we're not doing this super feature, and no, and you're going to go, but no, what about this feature? And you're just not going to do it, because otherwise you're going to end up with a product roadmap that's 24 months long and you're not going to get to market. So definitely take small steps. The third piece of advice is in terms of hiring. And so sometimes when you think about hiring your company, you think about the positions that you need, the roles. At Xoopit, we really thought about the kind of people that we want to bring together. And so, we need engineering talent, we need marketing talent, we need business talent. And so what has at least worked for us is to shape the work around the people that you find, because at the end of the day, you've got to create a team that's going to gel and be really, really dynamic, and you're never going to be able to find one person who's going to be able to do every single thing of the product manager. So you find one phenomenal person, and then you shape their work around them.
Okay. When you talk about small steps, do you have an example of when you wanted to build something a little bit larger and then you were able to break it down into little small steps?
Yes. And so the first vision of Xoopit was to actually build a mail client and take all the innovation that we wanted to do and build the mail client. And it took some time, and we got the mail client out of the product, and we said we're going to supplement the existing webmail environments. By making that decision, we saved ourselves 6 to 12 months of not having to reinvent the wheel, and instead start being able to stream out our features incrementally. And so that was a great example for us.
Okay. Now, you talked a little bit, or you and I spoke a little bit about creating vitality inside your company. What are some of the lessons you've learned about trying to create that vitality?
Well, there's a range of issues. The first is just to put focus on it. And so if you're the management team of the company, when you have your management ops meetings, to even have a category on the list that says culture, and to talk about it is a great start. And so, whether or not you're going to copy our idea, use some of our ideas or not, your culture is your culture, but putting focus on it and not forgetting about it is step one. At Xoopit, one of the things that we did is we defined our values very, very early on, right? And we talked to the team, and we really crafted a list of values that we could sign up for. And one of the values was to be healthy. And so one thing that we do at our company is we cook lunch every day, and we end up having these amazing, organic, usually raw food lunches. There aren't a lot of carbs. There's no greasy burgers. And it keeps people really super energized, and also we sit together and hang out.
How many people in your company?
There's 11 right now.
And who does the cooking?
When we started, it was me and JK, and we traded off, starting in our apartment, and then we were 5-6 people at our current office. Today we have a chef, and so
nice.
he comes in 4 days a week and
pays
back in spades.
What about basic pitfalls in scaling your web system?
Scaling your web system. So that's a very good question. So I'm going to answer that from the CEO perspective and the product management perspective. The first thing that is really, really helpful to your engineering staff is to lay down some healthy requirements for the engineering team so they can understand what they're building. And to be realistic about it, you can't future-proof your system forever. So if your roadmap's too long, then you're going to send your engineering team into a world where they're going to be building all this technology that you might not need. The second thing is that scaling is a feature that is first solved in the financing department. I learned that from Jim Everingham, the CTO of LiveOps. And what that means is the first step in creating scalability is to find a way to lasso together a bunch of machines and to just throw as much hardware as you can at the problem just so you can get to market and you can get a lot of users. And then after that, you work on decreasing your density or making your cost of operations a lot cheaper. If you try to do both at the same time, you're going to get stuck with a very expensive systems engineering problem that you don't really want to deal with. So scaling with money is very, very useful.
Okay. But you don't want to spend before you need to scale, do you? Or
yeah, no, absolutely. You don't want to pre-buy 600 different machines.
Right.
But at the same time, what you don't want to do is spend a year writing software that will help you distribute your load in the fastest way and to decrease your machine footprint in the smartest way. What you want to do is say, look, we have this load now, or we're expecting this load in a quarter. Pre-buy your machines, and then
it's cheaper to do it pre-buy it than to write code that tries to.
Well, it's not really about pre-buying your machines. It's more about using open source practices and software that allow you to scale, such as using sharding and MySQL databases and things like that. Techniques that most Web 2.0 companies use. And then you worry about how you can decrease your footprint. So scale with money first.
Okay, great. Well, thanks so much. There's a lot of good insights in terms of avoiding those basic pitfalls, creating vitality inside your company, and your 3 lessons, which are value transparency over secrecy, think small or take small steps, and hire well.
Yeah. Hire for the people.
Hire for the people.
And then the job.
And then the job. Okay, that's true. Okay, Bijan, thanks so much.
Pleasure.
I've been speaking with Bijan Marashi. He's the CEO and co-founder of Xoopit. I'm Bambi Francisco.